evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me as always, my good buddy Digger Jim. Jim, what is going on with you tonight, sir?
Man, I have one more day of work, and then we get Good Friday on Thursday off. So because I work 4 10s, I'm already off on Friday. So there's like, hey, take off Thursday. So I am this close to being done for the week.
You really had to twist your arm on that one, huh?
Yeah, that was tough. Well, it's funny because I didn't even realize they had gone to that. So what they did was they got rid of Veterans Day.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't thrilled about that, but
No.
yeah, and it, but I don't run the company, so.
Right. All right, and of course, joining us is for the first time tonight on the 1011. We have Matt Likes Comics. Matt, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. And as we get going here, for everyone that's going to be catching it on the rewind, or for those getting the notifications and joining us, who are you? What's your channel about, and where can people find you?
Well, my name's Matt, and I like comics. That's the easy way to put it. I'm on YouTube under the name Matt Likes Comics, and what I do is I do a mix of subject videos where, like, for example, I'll pick a person like a Vandal Savage I did recently and pull out a bunch of that person's appearances and then do the research and talk about the books, give the history of the character. And then there are other times where one of the things I've been doing lately is having my daughter pick one of the boxes behind me. And then once we pick the box, she'll go like this, pick a book, and I take 5 in front and 5 in back, and I cover those.
Nice.
And I call that random books my daughter's picked.
Yeah.
Now, has the hobby...
Other times I do artists. Other times I do books that I want to cover. Like there's been a couple times I've done Legion books where I just wanted to do it.
Right. Now, has the hobby extended to anyone else in your family or just you?
No, my son loves comic characters, but not comic books.
Huh.
Like he loves playing Lego Marvel, Lego DC.
Sounds like my kid.
Yeah. But no, he hasn't picked up on the books. And my daughter for a little while was reading Archie, but she seems to have moved on. So like whenever we saw Archie Digest somewhere, like I'd say, "You sure get one," that kind of thing. But right. I have them all up here now, so I don't think she wants them anymore.
Oh, and those little digests, they cost a pretty penny now. They're like what, $7.99?
Yeah, but my kids will come to shows with me, and I tend to buy those. I don't buy the ones at the grocery store. Right. We get the ones that are $1 at the shows or whatever.
Oh, nice.
So
the Archie Digests have always been fun reads, though. I always enjoyed them growing up. And when I saw them at the grocery store, I always wanted one.
Yeah. I recorded a video with regards to Archie Digest. I just don't remember if it's aired yet. Well, no, I'm like 4 weeks in advance on purpose because sometimes things come up and then I don't have a week where I can do anything other than my live stuff. So I want to be in the can a little bit just so that I'm prepared.
Sure.
Now, before we get going on your books, when did you start the channel?
Well, I started the channel last May, the end of last May. What happened was that I'm sure, I don't know, are you familiar with the Comic Collector Geek, Alan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Well, Alan and I live in the same city.
Okay.
And what happened was that when we realized that, we started a conversation and becoming friendly and stuff like that. And I would say we're friends now because we've been to 7 shows together. I think at this point you've
nice,
right? You get along.
So, but the first time I went, Alan was since we started talking, Alan was pushing me. You seem to have a nice collection because I did have an Instagram.
Yeah.
So he was going, you should come on my channel. I want to interview you. Come on. You're telling me all these books you have. Bring them, show them. My wife was pushing, you want to do it. Go.
Yeah.
So I did the interview on Alan's channel and I felt reasonably comfortable enough that, okay, well, we'll try it and see what happens. I had a little bit of a blip starting, but then I found my groove and I found my niche. Like this was saying, making these videos seems to be the ones that work for me because I do topics that not other people do.
Right, and then see, and I consider myself a niche channel as well because my interests aren't necessarily the main interests.
Exactly. I don't do. I mean, I have some Marvel, but I'm not a huge Marvel fan, as example. But like 8 out of 10 channels are Marvel.
Right,
Not
right.
doing DC off the bat, you're doing something different than most of the people already.
I'm a Marvel guy.
Yeah.
See, I go both ways.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has what they like.
Oh, there's still DC titles I get, like the Wonder Woman ones are amazing.
Yeah, I buy Fantastic Four, and I buy I was buying Conan when Marvel had it. I'm trying to collect the run of Conan. I like Marvel 2-in-1, Marvel Team Up, the 70s ones.
Yeah.
I love Marvel Supernatural Heroes. The Son of Satan is my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, Damian Hellstrom's great.
Yeah.
And like, Satana.
I just got his first appearance, his first full appearance not too long ago, Ghost Rider 2.
Oh, and I want Satana's one, but that magazine is pricey.
Yeah. Well, Hawkman 4, it's a 60s book, right?
So, no, that's Zatanna. I'm saying Satana.
Satana. Gotcha. Sorry, I sort of used to DC that.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with Zatanna either. I'd like to have her first appearance as well.
Satana's first appearance seems to be a book that is hard to find.
Oh yeah, well it's a magazine and it's tough.
That'll do it.
And it's pricey when you do find it. All right, but let's get to your first book and we'll get going here. Okay. A quick hi to Nauman, Steve White, and Zach's Collections. Good evening, all.
I took some time. These are not in any particular order. These 10, they're just literally going to be in the order I grabbed them.
Sure.
I put together not too long ago. I finally finished putting together the Adventure Comics Legion run from 300 to 380. This is one of the books that was the last ones I needed, and this one I chased for years. This is Adventure Comics 332. It's the Super Moby Dick of space.
Oh my God.
In this one, Lightning Lad, who's the guy on the cover here with the fake arm, loses his arm fighting this thing. Now, if you know your Legion, Lightning Lad is your hard luck guy. He's been dead and revived. He loses an arm. He gets it back. He has a kid. He has a child that's kidnapped by Darkseid and turned into a monster and sent back in time.
Jeez,
he
has a rough go of it.
He's had a very rough go about it, but he's one of my favorite Legion characters. And this book, because this is the one that, like, I've read it in so many collections,
right?
But I never could get a copy. Like, literally, if there was a book I was going to lose at any auction, this was
the one.
This was the one.
Now, why is that one so hard to find and get? Is there any particular reason?
It's not that it's hard to find, but it's actually a popular book for the reasons I said, that he loses his arm, and it's considered a key if you're a Legion fan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's really hard to. So, like, when it goes up for auction, you're going to get a lot of bids.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily go for high, but I'm not one, like, especially if it's in the middle of the night. I can't stay up till midnight or whatever, 1 o'clock to watch it. So I get sniped a lot.
You see, I'm the guy that I thrive on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I went to bed at 1 a.m. last night and got up at 5 and to get ready for work.
Yeah, I'm an 11 to 6 sleeper, but the only reason 11 is because I'm dealing with YouTube all night.
Right.
You're a popular guy.
What can you do?
Gotta tell you what, I'm a popular guy.
And that is a cover I have never seen before. So,
well, you know what? It's a lot of fun. The Legion is a lot of people. The Legion used to be so popular. There was a time that Adventure 247, which is their first appearance, was worth more than Amazing Fantasy 15.
Wow.
And that was right into the 80s. Like they were pretty huge back then.
Yeah. See, I didn't collect any of that then. I collected more of the probably late 70s through the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
The Mike Grell period, where he actually turned them into adults. and made him look sexy.
Yes. Well, actually, Dave Cockburn started the outfits, but Mike Grell finished them. Dave Cochran did the first ones, but Mike Grell was the one that did the really sexy ones. I've got this book here, actually. This is not part of it, but this is signed by Jim Shooter and Mike Grell, who both worked on this book. So
nice.
And you know, look at that Princess Projectra, just you know, laying it out.
Exactly. Now, I got Jim's signature twice. One's on my X-Men first Dazzler, and on Dazzler #1.
There you go.
Okay,
and have you ever met Jim? He's so tall, dude. He's like Chewbacca tall.
Oh my God, he is so tall.
Yeah, he's a giant.
And Norman says Legion was yesteryear's X-Men.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
All right, number
next
2,
book.
sir.
Ooh. Here's the next book. Superman 199, the first race between Superman and the Flash.
Now that to me
this is one of my favorites of all time. Actually, I bought a poster of this cover from Jim Shooter and had him sign that.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I'll never get Carmen Infantino or Kurt Swan to sign it too. But
no, too late.
Yeah, I'm afraid. But I did get to see the Swan letter he had, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, my son could not believe when he did see this book and goes, "What do you mean they finished in a tie?" Because he's like, Flash is faster. I'm like, actually, Superman's probably faster. But I mean, today now the Flash is faster. But
let's say Flash has like one power. You got to let him be fastest.
Yeah, you got to let him be the fastest. That wouldn't even be fair.
Well, Superman's super speed, right, is based on his alien physiology, where Barry Allen can touch the Speed Force. So at this point, he's the faster one of the two.
But I love it. If you took away the yellow sun, like if it was a cloudy day and Superman wasn't being powered by it.
It still gets through, right? The radiation still gets through. But think of him as a solar battery. What it is with his powers is that he gets the sun radiation and it's in his system, and then he releases it whenever he uses his powers, and it just keeps replenishing. So that's the second one.
Nice. All right, number 3, sir. Good books.
Man, that's
number
that's
3.
a serious book right there.
This one is important to me, but it's not the most important book I have. But this is important to me because this was the first real, what I consider a major first appearance that I ever got. And this is the first appearance of Power Girl, All-Star Comics 58.
Oh, I'm still looking for that one myself.
I remember buying that one and going, this is all right. This is cool looking cover. I'm going to get this one.
Yeah, well, I paid 130 Canadian for it, so
I don't know.
That was what I was saying. For me,
whatever was on the cover is what I paid.
Right. Well, for me, this was a big deal. It was my first, real first big first appearance.
So, there was one at my comic shop last week, and he had it up there for $70. I'm like, I'll get it tomorrow. I went back the next day; it was gone. I'm like, no, I missed my shot.
That's pretty reasonable, dude.
That's somebody trying to make sure they get rid of it.
Yeah. That's pretty reasonable.
No, he's got decent pricing.
Yeah.
Comic Bookworm, he says pre-boob window. Do you know the story of the boob window?
Oh my God.
Go ahead and tell us.
Wally Wood was the artist on this. Okay, when he was doing when this came out in the 70s, and this little circle here,
right?
They gave him a little crap about it when he first did the little boob window, as they call it.
Right.
So a couple issues after this, she's got practically nothing there. And then they didn't really pay attention. So it got to the point where Wally Wood was making it slightly bigger each issue to see when they'd notice. And the next thing you know, it's like this bloody big.
Yeah.
And somebody finally pointed it out.
Said, hey,
now,
Wally.
the fans weren't complaining. But
no. Right.
That's
so
awesome.
That's the story of the thing. Wally Wood is, of course, one of the best good girl artists out there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's if his name is on a comic book, I want it.
Marcus,
next up, this one here is a pure. I just love it because it's so cheesy book. This is DC Comics presents Superman and the Legion of Substitute Heroes. This is number 59.
Nice.
And what I love about this, the substitute heroes are the backups to the Legion of Superheroes. But what I love about this book is the villain in it. It's a guy by the name of Ambush Bug, and he is the definition of lunatic.
Yeah, he's nuts.
But he's not a lunatic like the Joker. He's a lunatic as in like, okay, he's out there. He spends this whole issue making silly puns and bad jokes, and is probably the favorite character that Keith Giffen liked him more than Lobo. He created both,
Right?
but he loved Ambush Bug more.
And Ambush Bug, he's got a little loyal following to him.
He does, because he's so.
Yeah.
Not only like in this one, he was still a semi-serious character, but after this, he started breaking the fourth wall. He did it before Deadpool, and because of that, people liked him because he was that ridiculous guy. His last DC comic book that was one that was named after him, Julius Schwartz was the bad guy.
Oh, nice.
And not just Julius Schwartz in general. This was like the Futurama version of Julius Schwartz 20 years before Futurama, where he's just ahead.
Oh, gosh.
Nice.
And Ambush Bug travels through time constantly to try and get away from him, and he's always there. It's hilarious. But yeah, this is the book that I read when I'm in a bad mood.
Nice.
I will say this: my big, I had a big gripe with was I didn't understand. So if they could have Sun Boy, how come they couldn't have Polar Boy or Polar Kid
Boy,
or whatever?
Polar Boy joins the Legion later.
I know, but I thought in the beginning I was like, he's not a sub. If you can have Sun Boy, you can have him. I didn't like it when I was growing up. I was like, that's a ripoff. But then
here's the story.
Other one,
Polar Boy couldn't control his powers,
right?
But Sun Boy could.
I know, but I just thought.
And Sun Boy was rejected. Sun Boy was rejected the first time he went there.
True.
He was one of the guys who was applying for membership in the issue where Supergirl and Brainiac 5 joined, which means he was rejected that day because at the time they were only adding one male, one female member.
Right, and they took Brainiac. Yep.
And they took Brainiac and Supergirl. He joined shortly thereafter, but I mean,
Supergirl had a lot more. Supergirl.
Sorry,
said if Supergirl is a choice, you go with Supergirl.
Well, that too.
But in this case, Sun Boy has always had control of his powers. It took Breck, that's his real name, Polar Boy, a long time to get his powers under control. And then once he did, he ran the substitute. He enjoyed doing the substitutes so much, he kept going.
Right.
Later, when they all got older and he felt he could move on, he joined the Legion in the 1980s.
Nice.
Oh, here we go.
He did get his chance.
There's the troublemaker right there. He knows he's more Legion than I am. I mean, he has. I know my base Legion. My brother John knows all Legion.
Number 5, good sir.
Okay, the next book I have is Superman 205. This is a Neil Adams cover, so right off the bat, it's great. But what I like the most about this book is the story in it. And it basically, this guy here is called Black Zero, and he claims that he blew up Krypton.
Oh, geez.
And he is very powerful. Superman is having the hardest time defeating him. Basically, he's here threatening to blow up Earth in 3 weeks. So Superman ends up pulling a Phantom Zone villain by the name of Jaxer out. And Jaxer, who normally, is the most dangerous criminal on Krypton's history, well, he's like, I still love my planet. And if this guy blew it up, I want to help you get revenge on him.
Right.
And Jaxer ends up being the reason they're defeating him because Jaxer ends up being exposed to red kryptonite. This particular red kryptonite made him turn into various snake forms. And the form that defeats Black Zero, Jaxer turned into Medusa.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
Turned him into stone, and then he smashed the crap out of him.
Also, they created this great foil for Superman, then destroyed him in one issue, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you know what's funny about the whole Phantom Zone thing, right? That ended up being like a blessing for anyone that was sent to the Phantom Zone because Krypton blew up and they're all still
Yeah.
alive.
Exactly. And that's part of what they wanted to do. If you know your DC history and you know your post-crisis era, one of the reasons they wanted to do they killed Supergirl was they wanted to make it so that Superman was the only Kryptonian, period. So they tried to get rid of the Phantom Zone. They tried to get rid of Supergirl, Krypto, all of the other things, so that the Krypton. So John Byrne, when he made the story, made it so that Superman was the only Kryptonian out there, and that didn't last very long because they started reintroducing stuff within a year and a half. So
Yeah,
they brought
that
the
was
Phantom Zone back, but
that wasn't gonna last.
yeah, no, I know, but still, that's what they attempted to do. So. My next book is the last book of the Adventure Comics series that starred Supergirl. This is issue 424, and I like it. I pulled this one out because it's one of my favorites because the story is really cool. Basically, Supergirl, in her Linda Danvers identity, starts dating a guy who turns out to be a mobster.
Mm.
And the mob people were making people disappear. And it turns out they were sending them into space.
You're sleeping with the stars tonight. No fishes.
That whole Linda Danvers thing, it makes me wonder if there was someone that was like connected with all these comics between Marvel and DC that just loved naming women Danvers, between Carol Danvers and Linda Danvers. And
I knew you were going to say that.
They're women.
Supergirl is much older in terms of history. She's 59. And she was Linda Lee at first, so she didn't become Danvers till 63 when she was adopted. But so when's Carol Danvers? 74, 75?
I got her first appearance over there. Let's see.
I think she was 74.
I forgot what year the book came out.
I think she was 74.
Yeah.
Got it.
See, that is cool.
Huh?
That is a cool book.
Yeah, I got that. I got her first powers. Because I'm a big Carol Danvers person.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I think Jim's right. It's got to be like 74, 75-ish.
Did you enjoy the movies?
I did. I liked them both.
I wanted,
although I'm really disappointed that we didn't get her in. I liked the movies, but at the same time, I wanted something different from them. I liked the second one more than the first. The second one gets too much hate. I thought the second one was a really great team movie with those three. But the first one, I didn't want her to be Captain Marvel right away. Go through the Miss Marvel years. Mm-hmm. You know, you could have had a trilogy with that, with her original costume, then the black suit with the lightning bolt, and then make her Captain Marvel in a third movie. You know, and they just all crammed it in. This is 1969.
What?
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
So it wasn't that long before, but Supergirl was still first. Okay. The next book is a Marvel book. Shocker.
Right?
This is Star Wars 78.
Star Wars.
This was the first issue of Star Wars I picked up ever when I was a kid. And the story inside was just really cool. And I thought to myself, oh, do they do this all the time? Do they make up stories of the characters? That's Wedge on the cover.
Right.
And he's fighting one of the Wampas.
Wedge Antilles. Yeah,
Wedge Antilles, yes. Man who destroyed 2 Death Stars, as they say. But I did not know at the time that the Star Wars comic was actually making up stories about other things. Like I was clueless.
Right, like expanding the universe.
Yes, like I thought it was just more of the same.
Right.
Like the movies and stuff. I didn't realize it had never really clued into me that Star Wars was a book. So when I saw this and I'm like, ooh, that's a cool looking cover. Let's see what this is about.
Right.
I was hooked.
And they did have some great covers.
Yeah. And the story itself actually, the reference in the book happens. The cover actually happens in the book. And it was a
Well,
cool. What happened in this story was Wedge was left behind on Hoth because his X-wing didn't work, and so he put so basically Luke Skywalker and Leia are searching Hoth for any survivors, and they come across Wedge.
And that's a fantastic cover too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what's cool about this too is with comics, you can spend time with ancillary characters and just get a really great story with these bit players in the movies.
Yeah.
Well, this was also the first reference in the expand universe, as they call it, that Wampas had intelligence, because in this book they team up and they show serious hunter tactics and prey, like similar to the Velociraptors did.
I thought you were going to say
had,
Predator.
Strategy and whatnot, right? Well, that's cool. I myself didn't do any Star Wars books. I was a rabbit hole I didn't want to go down.
Ooh, now that Marvel has Predator, they can have Predator versus Wampas.
No.
I'd watch.
Right?
No.
Just give me that comic series, 6 issues, Predators hunting Wampas.
Predator.
One of my first videos actually was of a Predator miniseries.
Nice.
Yeah, and the Alien and Predator series have been really good at Marvel. I like them at Dark Horse a lot, and I haven't been disappointed with them at Marvel either. So that's those are two properties that have been treated really well in comics.
Yeah.
By wherever they've been.
Oh, they're awesome. The next one, speaking about properties, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
Just look at this cover.
Right?
Okay. I am a huge Buffy fan.
Same here. I read all the books they put out too, all the novels. It was like 30 something.
I have everything. I have everything, just about. I don't have the novels anymore, but I've read them too.
I got rid of them. I'm like, I had to get rid of some stuff. And so I'm like, all right, I'll give these to someone else to read.
But this is number 1 of the first series. This isn't her first appearance in Dark Horse. I have that too. It's Dark Horse Presents annual 1998, sorry. But this is her first cover appearance, and I mean the first one in her name. But Buffy is why I collect comics. I'd stopped in the mid-90s like everybody else and had my life go on, got jobs, married. We had a kid, and then somebody on an off topic once told me that, Buffy's got a comic book now, because we were talking about Buffy, not about comics.
Right.
And I'm like, really? I went to the comic store to look for this Buffy comic book. I bought 7 books.
Wow.
I haven't stopped buying since. It is what it comes down to. But what I like about most of the Buffy books, like not just this series, but every Buffy series in Dark Horse, had 2 covers. One that was photo, one that was art.
Yep. They did that with Xena too.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. I don't have any Xena books, but that's cool. If that's true, I want Xena books.
Well, I mean, Topps Comics was with Xena. They did the cover and the art.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. But I don't have both of every book, because honestly, I don't always remember which one I have for each one.
Right.
So sometimes when I think I've got this and I see the other one, I'll pick it up. But I definitely have one copy of everything since that book. That's Buffy that's out.
And every Tuesday night, I was in front of that TV to watch Buffy. I didn't answer the phone. I didn't talk to anybody. I was in front of the TV, 8 p.m., ready to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, we didn't have it here in Canada. We didn't have it like you did. We had to wait till Saturday night.
Oh.
So I didn't see any Buffy until my son was born. So in 2003, at this point, I was doing the stay-at-home dad thing. And I mean, he gets up in the morning, and at like 6 a.m., there's nothing on except for, I'm sorry, at 6 to 7, it was Angel. And then from 7 to 8, it was Buffy. And so I would watch Angel with him, and then my wife would came downstairs and was like, "Why are you watching this in front of the baby?" And I'm like, "Because it's a baby and it can't see the TV, and I'm bored, and this is the best thing on."
Well, Angel was great. So when they announced Angel, I'm like, really? He's getting his own series. I'm like, eh. And
I
then
liked Angel.
that series came out, and I thought it was incredible. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
It was great. You know something?
It was.
The guy who played Lauren was a perfect addition to that show.
He was.
And I loved that Charisma Carpenter moved over as well.
Yeah, I was just going to mention her.
She was even better on Angel than she was on Buffy.
They were all the characters that were on Angel that came from Buffy were better on Angel than they were on Buffy.
Yeah.
Wesley was incredible.
Well, they gave him a story. They gave him some,
Right.
play. I mean, they were kind of bit players on Buffy. They actually had their own storyline.
Even Harmony was hilarious.
I mean,
Harmony was great. Yeah,
they had to bring in Spike at the end to really juice it up.
Well, no, they brought Spike at the end. The story why Spike ended up on Angel was they owed him. He was the only person that had a contract that extended past the end of Buffy.
Buffy, yeah.
They had to either pay him off or, you can work out that last year on Angel.
Right.
But him and David Boreanaz together, they were great.
Yeah, they were back and forth. Was really
which is hilarious because I asked James Marsters about it when I met him, and he said they didn't really get along.
Really?
Oh, really?
He said though David was his words, not mine. David is a diva. He doesn't get along with anybody.
Wow, because they were so good on screen together.
Yeah.
And
David's a wonderful actor, but
yeah. Well, yeah, because I love Bones with him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite characters too that got introduced in that series was Amy Acker. Winifred.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
I love her.
Man, when they made her into Illyria, I felt so bad for her, and then I kept waiting. I kept waiting for her to get turned back into Winifred, and it just never happened.
Yes. I've seen Amy Acker in so many things since, and honestly, I've always loved her since that show, since Angel.
And they took like a wimpy character, Wesley, played by Alexis Denisof, and they turned him into someone that you wouldn't want to be in the same room with if he was angry.
That is true.
He just got what a great, he really showed his acting chops playing Wesley on that show.
Yes.
What he could go to, what he could do, and
right.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The only one I found that got worse or didn't get better, I should say, was Nicholas Brandon. He was the same in season 7 that he was in season 1. The character, anyways.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite characters from Buffy was Anya. Gosh, I love Anya. Emma Caulfield, amazing. And but
she's one of the few I haven't had the pleasure of meeting.
Again, they didn't make Xander's character grow, but so much. I mean, they gave him a job. They finally gave him some purpose, but. And he would come in and say,
"Well, they never got him out of the puppy dog stage with Buffy, which is their problem."
That was the hard part, he didn't. He grew up. It didn't really. I don't know. He was the adult of the group, but at the same time, I just felt like
my email, and this has been my email for over 20 years now. I've used it for everything. It's xanderchase@gmail.com. So that's when Xander and Cordelia were a couple. I'm like, that was my favorite couple. Then when they broke them up, I was so mad. And then they introduced Anya. And to this day, I am such a nerd that the Buffy the Vampire Slayer music episode soundtrack is still on my playlist, and I love it. I will sing every word. Huh?
I used to play guitar, and I figured I sitting there one night, and I said, I'm not going to put this down till I get that theme song down. It took me 15 minutes.
That soundtrack is so good.
I know that is such a great Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Just in general, it's behind the scenes, I hear it was a real mess, but God damn it, it was a great.
It was.
Yeah, I actually sat there when I was talking with James Marsters. I said, "You had the best career of anybody I know," and he goes, "Well, why would you say that?" I go, "Because you got paid to kiss Sarah Michelle Gellar." And then he starts describing how it was to kiss it to me. And I'm like,
and Drusilla too.
Huh? Yeah, and Drusilla.
Yeah. And Drusilla,
yes. Oh, and Anya, because if you remember, they had
Oh,
sex.
yep.
Yeah, and Harmony, and all.
Harmony.
Yeah, I mean, he got around.
Everybody kissed Harmony.
Yeah, he got around.
Well,
Yeah, it's pretty
that
cool.
actress was great because she played like a little goofy so well, but then she could be completely menacing in a heartbeat. She
I
just
know.
played it. She had aloof down. Like she knew exactly what that character needed.
In the comic books in season 8 of Buffy, they did this great storyline where Harmony gets a TV show
Oh shit!
and she becomes like the biggest thing because
man.
apparently a television camera can show a vampire, but a mirror and a regular camera can't.
Right.
I don't know how, but she had like the top rated show in America at the time. It was funny to watch.
And Glory too. Glory was a good villain.
Yes, Glory. I have her autograph too, Glory. Actually, I've got Faith, Glory, Felicia Day when she played in the last season.
Nice.
She was let's see here, Charisma Carpenter, James Marsden, all from Buffy there that I've managed to meet.
I don't even know what number.
Doug Jones from the Hush episode.
Yeah,
I've seen Doug Jones, but I didn't get around to doing it. And I've met Nicholas Brandon, but I didn't pay for it because he's Nick. I'm not a big Xander fan. And now you're never going to see him at a show again because he's, canceled. So the next book.
I don't even know what number we're on. So yeah,
Number 9. I won this from Pockets Full of Comics. Tyler, he had a giveaway.
Nice.
This is Mad 4.
Oh,
nice.
If you know the story of him, he got his grandfather's collection. This is one of the books. He gave it away. I was absolutely flabbergasted to get this because this is the only EC original book I have. I've wanted one forever.
mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's the Super Duper Man spoof book really, 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 really makes it better for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the horror and the crime are great, but I've been a Mad fan forever.
We have a Steve White on this show has the whole run.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to put that together. Alan's put together 1 to 10, but just having one of the books is fantastic because every time I see him, they're always slabbed. They're always expensive.
Yeah.
So not only to get one that's not slabbed that I was able to flip the pages to, and it's got the biggest, not sure comic book worm. Might have to look it up. Probably, but I wouldn't quote on that if Wally Wood's in there.
Yeah.
Because it's a Harvey Kurtzman cover. And Kurtzman did Super Duper Man.
That's awesome.
Number 10. Back to DC for a minute. Because this is Action Comics 406. And I like it because the cover has a ghost of a headless Superman.
Holy cow.
And the first time I read the story in this was in a reprint. It was in one of those DC digests you used to be able to buy at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right.
And so one of the things I did when I first got back into comics was I wanted all the action in Superman comics, period. But what I was working on first was the ones with the stories I remembered because I wanted to reread those. And this was one of the ones. And since it was the cover story, it was obviously easy to find. There are three stories in this book. They're all good, but this is the one that sticks out. I love the fact the headless Superman is a guy who in the 1600s discovered immortality. And what happens is whenever he's in danger, he turns intangible. So whatever the danger is can't affect him.
Can't hurt him, yeah.
And he realized after 500 years of being alone and all that stuff, he wants to die. Well, it turns out that, Superman was using his heat vision for something to fix something in his laboratory. And this guy, he had solidified at this point, goes into the beam of his heat vision. And he says, don't worry, it won't kill me. See, I'm already turning intangible. But Kryptonian powers being what they are, it actually affected him and he died. and Superman ended up inadvertently giving him what he wanted, and that was death. So it was a cool story.
So you heard it here first. Superman's a killer.
Yeah, straight up.
No,
So when I was 9 years old and I first read it, it stuck with me. And
I'm 9 years old.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
Superman just killed somebody.
right.
That's
a cool story, though. I mean, that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was the Denny O'Neil era, okay? This was like, okay, it's the 48.25 cents, so it's 1971.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and that was the period where Superman had, they did the Kryptonite No More story with the Neil Adams cover, and Denny O'Neil started writing, and it was one of the better times for. Now, Kurt Swan did the interior arts. Neil Adams only did covers. Kurt Swan and
but
Murphy
still,
Anderson.
Kurt Swan is just
Kurt Swan's my
iconic
favorite
Superman artist.
He is the definitive artist as far as I'm concerned.
Well, when you talk Superman, you got Kurt Swan. Just like when you talk Spider-Man, you got John Romita Sr.
Right.
You got certain people that are, you can't think of Green Arrow without Mike Grell.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
You got certain people that are so attached to these characters.
Yeah, and honestly, Neil Adams is Batman.
Yes, I was just gonna. Yep.
I mean, he's done a lot of stuff. Like, he did probably 50, 60 Superman covers alone in the 60s. But I don't think of Neil Adams as a Superman artist. He was a cover artist then. Once he started getting stories, it was all Batman. And then the Green Lantern and Green Arrow stuff. So I guess we're at the point where it's the spec book, right?
Okay.
The spec or the story, your choice. Which one you want to do first?
Well, we'll do the spec first.
All right, sounds good.
I am not a spec guy. So, but to be honest, I did not like this character very much. So this book I bought for the sake of having it in case someday it was worth money. Because at the time I felt like it was going to be. This is Punchline 1.
No.
Because, I know. No, but hear me out. At the time, all the comic book people, including Wes at Thinking Critical, thought that Punchline was going to be the next big Batman character. And when Wes says that, you kind of sort of take it to heart a little bit. The guy's been around forever.
Yeah.
And he reads books out the, and on Comic Tom as well, they talked about Punchline.
Right.
So I thought, well, you know what? I'll just get one. I read it. It was eh.
Well, because they were trying hard to make her the next Harley. But then they had her. Then they had Mad Molly.
Yeah, and so this didn't click. Everybody,
I mean, give it time. All it takes is the right writer on the on the character, and it'll be where it needs to be.
Exactly. So you can call this a failed spec or whatever you like. I mean, but this is the only book that in my entire collection I could say that it was even a half spec that I bought it. And I bought it because it was a continuation of the story, or I thought it would be a continuation of the story in Batman 80, 90, whichever first appearance was 92 or 93. So, Legion, I like Thinking Critical, okay? He makes me laugh. He's so cranky. It's great. He's probably younger than me, and but he acts like he's like 80.
He's an old man, huh?
So I will leave you with this. This is my favorite storybook.
All right, nice.
Okay. It begins back in the basement, like so many of these things did. I came across my uncle's Silver Age DC collection that he had given my dad to store because my dad, we had a house. He had an apartment.
Right.
Well, five-year-old grubby me got into the comics. But I did not wreck them like the typical 5-year-old does. So what I did do was, shiny pictures. Colors, nice.
Right.
Flipping through them. Now, I could read at this point, but it was very basic, right? But this box of comics helped me learn how to read well. By the
Nice.
time I was 6, I was using scientific terms because I'd seen them in comic books.
Right.
And to this day, like this box of comics ended up staying with us forever. My uncle knows. He knows that unfortunately over the years pieces disappeared, pieces of whatever. I don't have any of it left. But it sort of started the basis of my first comic book collecting, where I started at like 5 and went to 1996. So this was 1976 that I discovered these books. And there was an Action Comics that I read with the Superman story in the front and the Supergirl story in the back. And I fell in love with Supergirl. I'm 5 years old and Supergirl becomes my first crush. I went upstairs, asked my mom all these things like, can Supergirl be our babysitter? That was when I found out that superheroes were fictional characters.
Yeah.
When my dad sat me down and said, it's cool that you like these, but,
Right.
And also, son, there's no Santa Claus. I mean,
Actually,
no, just kidding.
my parents took me to Star Wars and the drive-in in 77, but the Superman movie in 78 was the first time my dad took me to the movies. Just
Nice.
Okay. So that was a big deal to me. Superman was always a big part of my life. Having said that, this is Adventure Comics 351.
Oh, wow.
This book was part of that original collection. And this one really stuck out to me because, I mean, look at the colors on that thing. You got a hero wearing green, yellow, and red. You got one wearing pink and white. You've got another woman in a blue swimsuit with a pink cape.
Right.
And Saturn Girl.
That was Princess Projector, right?
That was Princess Projectra and Saturn Girl on the cover here. And Monella's there too.
Right.
But that's not the part that was like, I just was so blown away by the fact that there was a book with a whole bunch of heroes.
Yeah.
And they were teenagers. And of course, to me, teenagers were the coolest things ever in the 1970s.
Right.
And Teenage Superman. But this book also had Supergirl in it.
Right.
So right off the bat, it had a whole bunch of things I liked. I must have flipped through this book 40 or 50 times the first week or two after I discovered it. This, by the way, is the book where Lightning Lad gets his arm back.
Oh, wow. Full circle.
And that, yes, but see, that was what made me interested, by the way, over the years, what made me interested in how he lost his arm and all that stuff.
Right.
Why? Because he was kidnapped in this book and captured by the bad guy. And he had lost his metal arm. It came off in the fight or whatever. It was destroyed. And so this doctor in the book was actually betraying the bad guy and grew his arm back. He gave Bouncing Boy his powers back. Bouncing Boy had lost his bouncing powers at the time. Matter Eater Lad, for some reason, became really fat. He managed to cure that condition because, in the 70s, in the 60s, fat was bad.
Right.
So, everybody made fun of the fat kid. So, anyways, but the one panel in this book that really surprised me was during the doc when I was a kid. Freaked me out. But got me interested in science fiction at the same time. Because the doctor in the book betrayed the bad guy because the bad guy made his face look different. His nose was up here. The doctor was wearing a mask the whole time. And then at the end of the book, he pulls it off. He goes, this is why I hate Evil-O. He made me look like this. And he's human. So, I mean, having the nose up here, it's very bad.
Not a good look.
Yeah. But that panel freaked the heck out of me when I was a kid. Ooh, nose up there. But it fascinated me at the same time. Like that fascination, like the first time you watch a horror movie.
Right.
When you're a kid. Ooh, that was scary. I can't see it. Let's see it again. Okay. So basically, this, as far as I'm concerned, reading this book when I was 5 turned from this into this.
that.
Right.
And I would not honestly be reading if it wasn't for this particular
It
book.
just takes one, right?
This had everything. Superheroes coming out of the thing. They were fighting, and there were a bunch of supervillains. They called the Devil's Dozen, although there were only 4 of them. And they even had 2 members who were in lead suits, so that they didn't know who they were. They were known as Surprise and Mysterious, and that's how I got my love of puns, by the way.
Surprise.
Now they taught you how to read.
Turned out
They
to be.
didn't
It
teach
turned
any
out
of
to
that
be.
math. A
What's that?
dozen for 4.
But it ended up being Dream Girl and Starboy, who had
Mhm.
been, like, both of them had left the Legion. They'd been expelled, both of them. So they ended up rejoining. Part of this story, the reason that the cover was there was the issue before a kryptonite cloud had surrounded Earth, and so Superboy and Superman and Supergirl, could not come to the 30th century anymore. So they put capsules to make them forget everything about the Legion. So they went back, and when they went back in time, he didn't remember them, and that's what the cover references.
Gotcha.
So, and that's like they made the replica, like the illusion of the clubhouse, because it was Princess Projectra that did that and all that stuff. Projectra, actually, her power is a lot more powerful than you'd think. People thought this was little illusion power or whatever, but especially in books today, man, she's really tough. She can really make you think.
Right.
So,
Just mind altering.
Exactly. So this is my big story. Unfortunately, I don't have more than that to say, other than I've read it a lot over the years.
Wow, that was a great story.
That kicked me into gear. It made me learn how to read. It made me learn how to love. And that's one of the reasons why I love the Legion so much, because between Superman, Supergirl, and that book, those were the first real experiences with comic books I've had, and they've stuck with me forever, and I still love them.
And I remember learning words in comic books that just became part of my normal vernacular. And then people would accuse me of making up the words. I'm like,
Yep.
no, get a dictionary. It's a real word.
Real world.
Right. But, people don't understand that comics really are a great tool to teach
In
reading.
grade one, I used the word hypotenuse. Hypothesis in class. And the teacher, she literally dropped the pen, and apparently she phoned my mother that same day. It's like, your kid is brilliant. He used the word, hypothesis, and he used it correctly. Because my mom was all braggy when I got home.
Nice.
How about some more comics, Mom?
On a comic book.
Yeah. I need some more comics, Mom.
Great books, Matt.
Yeah, really was.
Those were fun.
I would agree with the comic book where this comic about the stealth state bouncing boy is luckiest, but only because he married Triplicate Girl / Duo Damsel, who is my favorite Legionnaire overall. Who's not?
Well, I was going to ask, which one's your favorite?
Duo Damsel is if you take out Superboy and Supergirl.
Nice.
Lightning Lad is a close second, though.
I don't know if I have a favorite. I like the
that one.
I like Phantom Girl, and I like the Colossal Boy a lot, but I didn't like that outfit that he had right there on that one. I liked it when Grell got him, and even then he was. I mean, those things were like, God, man, I don't even know how to describe it. They made him like all of them were like super sexy, but then it got a little out of hand when they took Cosmic Boy and put him in that like black thing. Oh my God, that was horrible.
With nothing else, that was terrible.
He looked like he should.
That one was Mike Grell.
Yeah, I was like, Mike Grell, what were you doing?
Mike
bro?
Grell was also
terrible.
the one that put Saturn Girl in the bikini.
Well, I didn't mind that, but he absolutely killed.
But
Dave
Cockrum was the one that put Dual Damsel in the bodysuit.
Right.
So.
Right.
With the thigh high boots.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
One of my
there was
favorite
nothing wrong
DC
with
series had boots, and that was, of course, the original Starfire 8-issue series, which is one of my all-time
Nice.
favorite series.
They did them all in it.
Incredible
I mean,
Vosberg art.
Shrinking Violet. I mean, she had like thigh-high boots, but
Yeah,
basically all of them did. But
she got really tough later in the Legion, and
Right.
actually, her and Light Lass are now a couple.
well, see, that was the other thing I wanted to point out is those people would like, I mean, Saturn Girl and Lightning Lad were pretty much a couple on the reg, but the other ones would flip flop all over the place.
Well, Cosmic Boy and Night Girl were pretty steady over the years.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's true.
Dual Damsel had that big unrequited crush on Superboy, who was absolutely clueless. And you
Yeah.
could see Brainiac 5 and Supergirl lasted for most of the time, their romance. Every time she was there, they picked it up. And even when they weren't dating or whatever, those two hung out together.
Right.
So
It's a great group.
Comic romances. Gotta love them.
well, they last
So-
as long as the writer wants it to.
That's
Right?
it.
Matt, great show, dude. Those were awesome comics. It
Thank
was
you,
fun to
Gary.
have a
Thanks for inviting me.
DC-centric episode. That was
Jim.
really cool. Some covers I've never seen before. You had me jealous with that Power Girl, first Power Girl. I have her second appearance. I don't have the first one yet, but that's on my to-get list.
Mm-hmm. I've got the first appearance of the Huntress as well. The two. That one was a double first appearance. There were two books that came out the same day. I have both of those books. So,
and what was I just gonna say? I just picked up the old the Black Canary series, the 4-issue miniseries, New Wings. I've been wanting that for a while. I finally got that, so I can't wait to read that.
Series.
But that new Power Girl series has been great. It's too bad it's ending. I really enjoyed that series.
I just heard it's ending on the guest I had on my show I did before this was the one that told me, and I'm disappointed because I've actually enjoyed this Power Girl series.
And that's one of the comics where like the writer, the humor works when they put humor in. Like you laugh, you get a chuckle, and then the serious moments are good. It's been great. I love her roommate. The way her and Supergirl actually got along was fantastic.
Yeah,
that whole series has just been really good.
Exactly.
It's
and the old roommate is Omen from the old Teen Titans in the 60s. She was Lilith.
Yeah.
So,
but I love their relationship. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, and I liked the streaky they had in that one, the cat.
Yep. And her would like stay out of my thoughts, and then she's always just dipping in anyway.
Exactly.
Well, you're thinking too loud. What do you want?
Mm-hmm. It was a nice little series.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
But I mean, I'm not upset that. I mean, we'll see Power Girl again, obviously. I'm not upset it ends because it gives me another complete series with her.
Well, the thing that I like about what they're doing with Superman is like the Action Comics is now more about the super family.
Right.
You get to see bigger adventures, and Power Girl is there, and Supergirl is there, and the Sun is there. Jonathan there. The other Superman.
Right.
And some of the you get Steel, you get Lois apparently has powers right now, so
right,
that kind of thing. You get to see all that, which I think is great, And then you have the Superman book, which concentrates on Clark alone and Lois because he's his wife, she's his wife, So,
all right, now, great stuff. Say it one more time. Great stuff, dude. Thank you for coming on and showing that.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
We'll have you back on again in the future if you're game.
Sure.
And
I probably could fit it in your music one too.
Oh, great. Well, speaking of that, that's coming up in my promos. But we're gonna go around the horn here, see what everyone's got coming up. We always start with my co-host, Jim. Anything coming up for you, sir?
Not anytime soon. I did get another permission to go dig at another 1940s house. The lady was fascinated when I was at her neighbor's house. I was like, "What are you finding?" And I was showing her, and she's like, "You think any of that's here?" I'm like, "Probably." And so if I get a chance before it gets too late in the season, then I'll definitely get over there and do that. And then
You need a new series though, like Paranormal Digger, where you go and only dig at haunted
at
places.
haunted places.
Yes.
And then I'm, I'm keeping an eye on one of my 2025 books. There's one on eBay that I'm eyeballing that I might message the guy. I think I can get him to give me issue 1 and 2 for a little cheaper that he wants.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna
nice.
send a message and hopefully he'll take the bait and I'll scratch 2 more off because I'm doing pretty good.
Right.
So
Now,
other than that, I don't have anything else coming up just right now.
Well, in 2 nights' time, I have Lettuce Comics on, making his debut on the channel, on the show.
Oh, cool. You are going to laugh and laugh every time I spend time with Hagen. It's both hilarious and expensive.
Yeah.
Well, he's on in 2 nights. He's excited. It's going to be his first show on. And then next week I have whoops, I just lost it. There we go. Next week I have Shrew's Clues on for the first time. So another first timer on the channel. And then we have on next Thursday we have Adrian Actual Dracula on doing his album version.
Oh, nice.
So we have him doing that. And what's coming up for you, Matt?
Excuse me. Unfortunately, with Easter coming up this weekend, I have to postpone my my usually bi-weekly Superman Sunday show, but I will be back on the 27th with the bi-weekly Superman Sunday show. Next week on my Tuesday night show, I will be having Lyle Hobson, who is a collector from British Columbia, who has 300 long boxes of comics.
Nice. So he's got one or two.
He's usually with us on the Friday night. And Friday night, I'm on Alan's channel. And I'm usually on Biggie's channel on Friday nights as well.
Thank you, Bobby.
Nice.
All right, nice. And of course, always, thank you guys. I appreciate you both. Thank you, Jim, for always being here for me. And thank you, Matt, for being a guest. There's no show without a guest, so thank you very much. And of course, to the audience that was watching, thank you guys very much for being here to support us. Everyone's links are in the description below. If Matt's new to you, go sub him up. If you're watching on the rewind, always check out my description. I put everybody's links on there. You want to see a little digging? You go follow Jim, Digging in Comics. If you and Matt's got his own DC series, go watch Matt. Everyone's does different things. Go check them out. See if they're for you. It doesn't hurt to give someone a chance. You might find your new favorite channel just by clicking on one of those links.
There you go.
As we like to end these things, we're going to say thank you to everyone very much for watching. If you're catching it on rewind, we appreciate it. And as always, as we like to end these things, we're going to say, keep it casual.